Hi, this is Chris Altrock in Memphis, Tennessee. I'd like to lead you through a simple spiritual practice called resting in the loving gaze of God. This practice comes to us from Ignatius of Loyola. He's the author of something called the Spiritual Exercises, and in those exercises, he urged us to pray in a very specific way. He said, before you begin to verbalize your desires to God, take a moment and imagine God looking at you in a loving way. This resting in the loving gaze of God became an important way of grounding and rooting people in the love of God. Now, before I lead you in this practice, it's important for you to know that this can be a challenging practice. Some of us have been conditioned by unhealthy faith communities or unhealthy families or even difficult circumstances to not see ourselves in the way that God sees us. And so before we begin this practice, I would encourage you to make a commitment to yourself, silently or even out loud, to say something like, I recognize that this practice may challenge me. And so accordingly, I want to give myself grace. I don't have to do this or experience this perfectly. This will be a step, even if it's only a small step, in learning to see myself and others in the way that God does. So we're going to engage in this practice for ourselves. We're also going to engage in this practice for others. That is, there is a social component to this spiritual practice that is just as important as the individual component. I'd like to lead you through this practice right now, so you could turn off the video, just put everything aside right now, just listen to the sound of my voice. Close your eyes. Take a moment of silence to still yourself. Pay attention to your body. Notice where it's tense and relax it. Attend to your breathing. Deep, slow breaths. Pay attention to your mind and your heart. As thoughts or emotions emerge in this stillness, acknowledge each one and then release it. In this time of stillness, try to picture God looking at you. Let his location come to you. He may be looking at you from above in heaven. He may be looking at you directly across from you. You may imagine him being very close to you, as if you're lying down in a bed. Try to imagine on his face a look of total love and devotion. If it helps, use the image of someone you know. The face of a person in your life who sees you with such delight and such devotion. Or maybe the face of someone that you've seen in a movie or a play or a piece of art that just radiates devotion and delight. It can even be a child's face. They are so good at unreserved delight and devotion. You may want to picture God as Father or Mother. You may want to picture God as Jesus or as the Holy Spirit. It's okay to picture God as someone that you know. Picture his eyes, the way they crinkle and they radiate, they shine with love and devotion. Picture his smile, the way it beams with love for you. And imagine the voice of God saying, "You are my beloved." What does his voice sound like? Is it tender? Is it strong? Is it loud? Is it quiet? Rest for a moment in the loving gaze of God. And as you do, draw your attention now to yourself. What emotions are you experiencing? As they emerge, acknowledge each one, even if it's a negative one. Try your best to savor this experience. What physical sensations are you noticing in your body? Has it impacted the pace of your breathing? Do you notice more tension, less tension? What is your body telling you in this experience? And how might that experience impact you as you move throughout the rest of the days this week and you encounter other voices, including your own voice, that seem to be in contradiction with the voice of God saying, "You are my beloved"? Now imagine other people, family, friends, coworkers, even strangers. Imagine God turning toward them with the exact same look of love and devotion. And imagine yourself joining God in that look. Imagine saying together with God to these people in your imagination, "You are God's beloved." Is there someone specific or a specific group of people who comes to your mind as you mouth those words? Is there someone specific or a specific group of people you feel led to invite in your imagination to come and rest in the long, loving gaze of God? Who do you know that has not been treated as God's beloved by yourself or by others? Invite them in your imagination to rest in the loving gaze of God. What does that experience feel like? What emotions and thoughts are you noticing? What is your body telling you? And how might that experience impact you as you encounter other people in the days to come? Rest with all of these other people in the loving gaze of God. And now give thanks to God for what you have experienced in this practice. Go with grace. May God bless you.